Hello, everyone. My name is Bleach Dairy, and thank you so much for joining me today. So, normally I talk about music on my channel, that seems to be the majority of what I've done on here, but I want to talk about something a little bit different, and I kind of want to go into why exactly I'm doing something different for this video. So, something funny about my computer, and I swear that this is relevant to everything. When it's trying to do like a massive download of something, like if it has to do like a massive download of like an update for a game on Steam or something, it usually slows my computer down just for a little bit. Like it's kind of hard to load pages or anything. And if I do end up loading a page, or if like I'm watching a video or something while something is downloading, it also slows the download down. So a download that'll take only like an hour will generally take about 4 hours if I'm doing something else on it. So it's really hard to kind of multitask on the computer while something is downloading. But why is that relevant to today? Well, I figured, since while I'm doing my downloads, I can't really do anything on the computer, or else it's just everything's just going to run so slow. So I figured I was going to take that time to go through some of the manga that I had in my collection that I still haven't gone through. I have plenty of manga that I've had for a long time, and I just still have not really like bothered to read any of it. Um, but I like to have it just in case I do want to read it. Sometimes when I go to like Barnes and Noble or like Half Price Books or something, and I like to peruse the manga section to see if there's anything that'll catch my eye. Sometimes I'll go ahead and buy at least the first volume or like the first couple volumes of a series that I think looks interesting, and I'll just have it. Just in case if I do ever decide that I want to read it. I'm not a massive reader, like, of really anything like book related, but I do like to read manga every now and then if I'm ever really into it. So I was reading a couple of the ones that I had, and I had a thought for a second. I was like, huh, some of the stories that I actually have, I think would be very, very good for the goth community to enjoy. So that's what I want to bring up today. I have a handful of stories here, a handful of manga series that I think would be very, very good for people in the goth community to enjoy, because I've been a part of the goth community alongside of the metal community for over a decade now. So I would hope that I have a pretty good idea of of what kind of manga and anime that I think the goth community would really enjoy. Because if I didn't have an idea of any of that, then I think we'd really have a problem. So this is going to be mostly manga, but I am going to bring up like some anime as well. Or if like some of these series have an anime adaptation to it, I'll also bring that up too, even if I haven't even seen it. Because a lot of these, when it comes to the anime, I haven't really seen, but with the manga, I have read. So yeah, I say we should get into it. The first one I'd like to show is actually the one that really kicked off this idea in my head of making a video about anime and manga that I think goths would really enjoy, and that would be this one right here. Um, there's a way that I like to pronounce the title, but I'm just gonna say it's #DRCL Midnight Children. I just like to call it Dracula Midnight Children because it's pretty much just another adaptation of Dracula. Um, and this is also not a hashtag, by the way. It's a # because this takes place way back in like I think the late 1800s is when it happens. Because that's about the time when the original Bram Stoker Dracula, I think, was written. It was like 1890s, I think. I don't fully remember. It's been a long time. But I picked this one up because, I absolutely adore the story of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I have the book and I have read it before. It is a fantastic story. I have plenty of, well, I guess I shouldn't say plenty. I have a few of the movie adaptations of it. I have like the 1931 film with Bela Lugosi, and then I have some of the Hammer horror ones with Christopher Lee, and then I've also got the Francis Ford Coppola one as well, which is also a fantastic movie. But with this story, this one's a little bit interesting. I'm gonna try to explain it a little bit. It basically follows the same story as the original Bram Stoker's Dracula, where Dracula comes by from Transylvania all the way to London, and to spread death and pestilence, and as Dracula does in the actual story. But this one takes place in a school setting, and it follows Mina as the main protagonist of it. And it doesn't really go over everything that's going to happen, of course, in the first volume. It's just supposed to get you interested in the story, of course. So it's not going to show you everything, but it does show, the character of Lucy getting attacked by Dracula and then turning into a vampire and all that. Might be a little bit of spoilers, but, if you know the story of Dracula, you probably know what's going to happen in this. But I have, like I said, I've read all the way through this, and I really, really like the story. I think the characters are pretty interesting, even if some of them are not very good, like not very nice to Mina, because Mina goes to a all boys school, which she's the only girl in an all boys school, I should say. So there's a lot of scenes in this where she gets bullied relentlessly. So it's sometimes it's not really fun to watch. But one of the coolest things about this is that it has such a really, really cool art style. Like, I'll show you some of the panels here, because it just looks gorgeous. Like, this whole thing is drawn just in such a cool way. Like, this panel right here is really cool too. It's just delightfully creepy. It's like, not the typical like moe, I guess, style of manga that you would typically see. It's just so beautifully done. And I really, really love manga that has a really, really nice art style to it. And there's a few more in here that I think perfectly capture a really, really nice art style as well. So, yeah, that one I would highly recommend if you really, really love the story of Dracula. So that's a really good one. Next up, I'm sure most of you probably already know about this if you know anything about, anime and manga, if you've been a weeb for a long time like I have been. But of course, Hellsing. Gotta bring up Hellsing, man. This story is so much fun. It's so action-packed. It's so gory. It's just such a great series, and I love Alucard as a character. So I guess if you don't really know anything about Hellsing, though, it's about vampires, of course. Mainly, of course, the main vampire of the story, Alucard. And he works as, sort of like a, how would I describe it? He works for, a company that is run by Integra, and their whole job is basically to eradicate a whole bunch of, what is it? I'm blanking on the words here. Basically to eradicate a whole bunch of threats. So it has to do stuff like, killer vampires, or even like vampire hunters that are trying to hunt them down, and later on hunting Nazis in it. It's crazy. This whole story is just crazy. And it's just so much fun to read. Like, I absolutely adore everything about this series. And it also has fantastic art in there as well. I love the artwork in this. It's just so good, man. So even though I still have yet to finish it, I mean, the first volume is great, and I have the second volume, but I don't have the third one yet, so I haven't finished it. I would like to finish it at some point, but I do need to get the third volume still. And something about manga with me is that I prefer to read my stuff physically. I don't really like to read anything online, like on a tablet or like on my browser or something. I have to have the book in my hands in order to, fully enjoy the story that I'm reading. So, that being said, that is still something that I do have to finish, is the story of Hellsing. The anime, I still have yet to watch, but I have seen plenty of clips of from the anime online, and it looks really, really cool. I really want to watch it at some point. I've also seen plenty of clips of the abridged version, which is hilarious. So that's something I do need to watch at some point as well. But yeah, the manga is incredible. I highly recommend the manga for that. Now, there's another artist, like there's a well-known artist within the manga sphere that very, very much well known for all of his horror stuff. I mean, you've probably already know who I'm talking about. Of course, it's Junji Ito. everybody in the manga community knows who Junji Ito is because he's just the master of horror manga, and rightfully so because I have a number of his books already, and his work is just incredible. His art style, his storytelling, the way he portrays monsters in it, it's so grim and grotesque. It's frightening. The stuff that he comes up with is just truly terrifying. But I think the works that he's done that I think works best for people in the goth community, it definitely has to be his rendition of Frankenstein. Um, it's basically just, a retelling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but said like with subtle differences here and there as well. Um, so it's kind of hard to explain exactly what the differences are, but basically it is just a retelling of the story of Frankenstein, uh, just in the style of Junji Ito and how just like frightening a lot of his stuff is. Because like his art style, I love it. It's incredible. It's so unique. It's so frightening. And absolutely, if you love the original story of Frankenstein, I'm sure you will absolutely adore this, and it shows you everything. So you can see all of the absolutely grotesque moments throughout the story that are beautifully portrayed in this. Just such gorgeous artwork. But yeah, absolutely recommend Junji Ito's version of Frankenstein. I think I think people in the goth community would absolutely get a kick out of that. So now there's a few other ones that I kind of want to rattle off a little bit quicker because I think they're like I would consider these a little bit like loosely on the goth side, but more so on like the horror side or like horror side or action side or something along those lines. But just some other ones that I think are worth at least bringing up a little bit. Of course, Berserk. Got to bring up Berserk. Pretty much everybody in the anime and manga community knows what Berserk is. It's so good. I don't think I've ever heard like anybody say anything bad about the story for Berserk. It's just so well done. Like one of the absolute top tier like action horror type of manga and anime out there. Or at least when it comes to the anime, people seem to be pretty split on it. There's like different versions of the anime out there, like different eras of people remaking the anime over and over again. But I've at least heard that the original anime is at least decent. Still nothing that I've ever actually watched, but I do highly recommend the manga though, because it's just I love Guts. Guts is such a great character. But yeah, Berserk is pretty good for that too. Also, I don't have this one, but I do at least want to mention it. Vampire Hunter D, of course, which that is one that I do still have yet to watch. But I have seen plenty of clips of it as well. I just haven't been able to get around to watching full episodes yet, but I at least want to bring it up because everything that I've seen from that anime just looks gorgeous. The animation just looks incredible on that. It's like that really, really nice, like, what would you call it? Like late 90s or early 2000s type of animation. I don't remember exactly when it came out, but I think it was somewhere around that time. It just looks so good. That is one thing that I need to watch at some point, and I figured I'd at least mention it because it's one that is highly loved within people who are weebs, but also goth. So, as well, the Castlevania anime, which is one that I actually have seen, would also really, really work for that. That one, the original for that, not counting the one that features Richter Belmont. The original one with Trevor Belmont is the one that's based off of Castlevania 3 for NES, which is a great game, and also a great one to do a anime adaptation for. So, very, very good anime as well. I've pretty much only ever heard like good things about it, and I also love Alucard in that show as well. Alucard's just one of my favorite, like, Alucard in Castlevania, I should say, is one of my favorite, like, fictional vampires of all time. I seriously love his character. Also, something else that I think would be pretty cool to bring up as well for the goth community, I think the manga for Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, I think would work really, really well for that as well. I'm repeating a lot of words. I'm getting a little redundant. But Twilight Princess, aside from it being, my absolute favorite Zelda game, the manga for it is also really, really, really well done. I still find it weird about the fact that, Link speaks. To me, Link has just always been kind of like the silent protagonist, but he does talk in this. But thankfully, he doesn't sound anything like he does in, like, the CDI games or, like, the old Legend of Zelda cartoon from back in the day. But again, when it comes to like the art in this, from the Twilight beings and all that, the Twilight beasts, these the artwork is just incredible in this as well. And with how gritty of a story like Twilight Princess is, gritty of a story and gritty of like artwork, like an art style it is, even like for the games itself too, like it's just, to me, like it's just one of the darkest stories in all of the Zelda universe, aside from probably Majora's Mask as well. But Twilight Princess, I just have such a love for it. I feel like people really need to read that one. It's just really good. But if action really isn't your thing, and you want something a bit more, say, like maybe like a romance story, um, I would absolutely recommend this one too. I also read this one for the first time recently. It's been on my shelf for the longest time, and I really, really wanted to read it at some point, so I made sure to get the first volume. But Sankareya, Undying Love. I almost forgot the name of this. This is a horror romance story that follows a guy named Chihiro who is absolutely obsessed with all things that have to do with zombies. So much so that he tries to come up with a concoction to try and bring his pet cat back to life after it passed away. But he ends up meeting a girl named Rhea, who is who is like the most prestigious girl in the Sanka Girls' School. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Who has a really, really horrible personal life, like really horrible home life to say the least. But the two end up having fondness for each other, and she wants to help with the process of trying to bring the cat back to life. So she develops a interest in zombies as well. And to kind of avoid spoilers a little, she does eventually die later in this volume, but she is later then resurrected as a zombie. And the whole thing is basically, it's a romance story between Chihiro and Rhea. So I really, really liked the first volume. I thought it was really, really fun to read. I like romance stuff every now and then. Like, this is definitely more of like a dark romance type of thing where a guy falls in love with a zombie. But it was just so cute at a lot of points, just seeing the dynamic between Rhea and Chihiro. And a lot of the other characters in this are also really interesting. So I would very much recommend reading this too. There is an anime adaptation as well, which I still have yet to watch, but I have seen clips of it before. It seems like it's just a one-to-one adaptation of the manga, at least from what I've seen. Only from like the clips that I've seen that are related to the first volume. But I do need to watch that at some point, so I would definitely like to indulge in that sometime in the future. But the manga itself, highly recommend it. I think it's a really, really really cool thing to read. So there's a romance story for you, but if these elements to these books are a little bit too much and you kind of want something a little bit more casual, I'll give you my last recommendation, which is not a manga, rather a full-blown anime. I don't remember if this has a manga to it. I'm pretty sure it does. Either way, I've never read it. I've only ever watched the anime for this. But if you want something a bit more casual, a little bit more slice of life, then I would absolutely also recommend Miss Vampire Who Lives in My Neighborhood. I really like this. To be fair though, I like a lot of anime like this. I prefer anime that's a bit more casual and easy to understand, not really like story heavy all that much, because I like to, when it comes to anime, I like to watch something that I don't have to pay too much attention to, I guess. And this is kind of perfect for that, really. So it pretty much follows it follows a girl named Akari, who is obsessed with dolls, and she is trying to um, find a find a mansion that is known around her town as the Doll Mansion. But little does she know, the person who lives in the Doll Mansion is a vampire named Sophie, and Akari finds like she has such a fascination with Sophie because she's very much doll-like in her presence, and basically it leads to the two of them living together. It's a really really cute story. I this is one of those shows that I like to put on every now and then, just to kind of have something cute to watch. You know, I'm very much fine with more cutesy anime. Um, the only thing about this one though is that it feels a little rushed sometimes. Like I feel there's definitely a lot better in this genre out there than this one. If like some of the episodes feel like, as I said, kind of rushed occasionally. Like I don't remember exactly the number of the episode, but for some reason, on like the holiday episode that they were doing, they managed to fit a Halloween special, a Christmas special, and a New Year's special all in one 20-minute episode. Which I don't know how the heck they pulled it off, but they did. But you can kind of tell in like that episode specifically, it just feels a little rushed. But either way, characters are great. I think it's a really really cute story. Would absolutely recommend watching this as well. There aren't really a whole lot of people talking about it though, which I feel is kind of criminal. I feel like people who really enjoy stories about vampires or stories with more like gothic elements to it, I feel would really enjoy that. You know, that is if you like more casual type of anime. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got to show. Um, I'm sure there's probably a lot more out there, but it's I don't think there isn't really a whole lot else that I like pretty much know of off the top of my head that I think would be perfect. There are a few series that I know of that I think would be really good for metalheads. Of course, like Detroit Metal City is one that I would absolutely recommend for that. And Agretsuko, I love Agretsuko so much. I actually met two of the voice actresses for the English version of Agretsuko, and super super nice. Absolutely love them. But that could be for a video for another time. For now, that's pretty much all I had to go through. I really hope that you take the time to read some of these or watch some of these because it's very much worth your time. It was worth it for me. Maybe it'll be worth it for you. Maybe you'll find something new that you'll end up obsessing over. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to go over. So keep on collecting, stay metal, or stay goth in this case. And of course, have a good day.